Yeah, so hello guys. As you might be aware or you are not aware, this is Orlando Tiablo, prefers to be called the Guru Bee. So I was inspired by a female passionate programmer that I refers to as Rosano. And then we're trying to work on this thing, just a mini project. And this project is all about just guessing games. I think we have all done it in different languages. I remember doing one of these things in Python programming, and I have that on my channel. But today we're going to basically work using Java. So how can we do the same thing, like guess a game or guess a number? So how can we do that in Java programming language? So in previous video, this is not under the series of Introduction to Java. Introduction to Java class is a different series. This one is just a mini project that I was working on with somebody, and then I thought it was to share with you guys. So if you want to check the other videos of Introduction to Java series, you can check the channel. Alright, let's get started. So initially here, and in the previous video I showed you about what is or how to create a file and class and everything. So I'm just going to explain this code to you and then try to demonstrate to show you how it works. So we have a package here. A package is basically, you can take it as an English word, like give me my package or your admission package, and then everything is in it. You have the JW, you have your admission letter, you have every other thing within it. You can also term it as a home. So this package is like a home, or maybe in a dormitory or in an apartment. So everyone that comes into that home or into that apartment can be able to access information from each other. So they are all basically into a family. So we created this package called guessing game. And like I told you in the introduction to JavaScript or Java programming, this one means a comment, right? It's not going to take effect on the code. It's just a comment. So we import this javax or javax.swing, and then using this asterisk means that we include every other thing under this class. So if you not want to specify a specific thing under this class, you can be able to include every other thing under this class. So that's why we use the asterisk under this javax. So javax is one of the foundational classes that was created basically for Windows-based application and also sometimes for web-based application. So since we are using a Windows computer and other things to do this project, we deem it necessary to call or import this java.win class. And then like I told you, always your class should always start with an uppercase, and the class name should be the same as your file name. Okay, the class name should be the same as your file name. It's some kind of a rules or format of Java programming language. So we have a public class, and I told you in a previous video that public class means that we can be able to access information from within this class and other classes that are in the same package. So also public static void, it means that we also have a private, right? So private means you can only access information from within a specific class. You cannot go into other classes to access information. So static means that this main method, and method also means function. So in Java programming we call it method. In other programming languages we say function. So static means that this main method or this main function belongs to the class of guessing game, which is going to take a string and then it's going to take an argument. So we initialize a variable. In other programming languages, we put the variable name and then we put the data type before we put the value. But that is not the case here in Java. We first put the data type and the variable name and then the value. So the first variable we have here is called readite, however way you want to pronounce it. but I call it redirect. And then what it's going to do is it's an integer variable. So that's what we say int is an integer variable, means it's going to deal with numbers. But then we call a function here called math.random. It was the same function that I even used when I was doing the same program in Python programming. Also in JavaScript, I also does the same. So it's the same function. Whenever you want to use random numbers in your program, you have to call this function called math.random. But then it gave a random number between 0 and 1. But because we want more random numbers to be chosen, we now have to multiply that by 100. You can multiply by 200, 500, whatever number you want the user to guess within a range. So now it's going to be from 1 to 100. If you want people to guess from 1 to 500, 1 to 200, or 1 to 20, 1 to 10, you can just change this 100 to whatever value you want. Alright? So it's going to guess from 1 to 100. And then we also have another variable called showOn that we initialize as 0. So showOn is basically the result or the response that this user is going to provide. Like when we ask you for the guessing number, and then the answer you're going to give us, we're going to store it in this variable called showOn. And then we're going to print something here to say that this is the computer generated answer at this time. So whenever we run the program, the computer is going to generate number, a random number. So we say plus this radii, and radii that we told you here, we declare here as a random variable. Okay. Now we also have another integer variable called guru. So guru is basically the guy or this variable that is going to do the counting. How many times the user have tried to guess the answer. So we say that the first try is 1. We could also change it to say the first try start from 0. It also start from 5. Whatever number we want to use, but I prefer to start from 1. So we can change it as well. But then, since we don't know basically what the user answer will be like, because we have something called a for loop and we also have a while loop. So the reason why we use a while loop here is because we don't know, we have no clue how many times the user is going to guess this answer. You use a for loop whenever you know or have a clue of how many times you want to run this program. How many times this thing will occur, you use a for loop. But if you don't know, just use a while loop and it's going to keep doing that until it meets the specific requirement. So this is a comparator operator that is going to compare, and this means what? Not equal. So we said a y showOn is not equal to the random number. Then let's do something. And what is that thing we want to do? We initialize another variable that is a string. This variable is a string. So we said that this variable should do something. It should be equal to something. So we use the J option pawn. J option pawn is a kind of a class. It's a class in JavaScript that is used to pop out or display a dollar box. It could be a confirm dollar box. It could be a message dollar box. So if you want to print out dollar boxes that user can be able to type their information, then you have to use the J option pawn. But then since J option pawn have different dollar boxes, we want to use the show input dollar box. That is the input dollar box of J option pawn, so that the user can be able to import their answer or their number that they are guessing. So we put a null here because we want the input field of this dollar box to be empty. We don't want anything to be put into this dollar box initially. So after that, it's going to put a little header to say what is your local number between 1 and 100. And it's also going to give you a title of that dollar box to say Rosano guessing game. Okay? And then we now have another variable called showOn. And this shall variable, we remember previously, it was the variable that we declare and initialize to 0. So we now say that we want to do something with this response that is going to come. We want to convert the response to an integer. Okay? We want to convert the response to an integer, and we have to use the parseInt. If we use the parseInt is a method, or basically a function, and this function is used to convert a string literal or the string data type into an integer data type if that data type is not an integer. Okay? Because we say here response is a string or string. So we want to convert response to an integer. That's what we did here. And we initialize all of that to shall on. So we also want to call our J option pound. In this J option pound, we wanted to show a dialog box, but it's going to be a message dialog box that is going to tell us how many times we have tried and if we got the answer correctly or if we are wrong. So we have to call all of these variables to be able to tell the user that the number of times you have tried, and then if you have guessed the right number and all of these things. So now if we have tried the first time and we don't get it, we try it again a second time. This guru now, which is the counter, or this guy that is going to do the counting, how can we make him to know that, okay, we have tried? So now we have to use here and say increment guru. So that is guru plus plus. It means add one value to guru. Since guru is 1, add another 1, so it's 2. We could also initialize this to say guru equal guru plus 1. So guru equal guru plus 1 is the same as writing guru plus plus. So we always try to find the best and the easier way to do things. Next is where we're going to have all of our conditions. So this condition is going to help us to run this program as best as possible. And now we say that all of these variables, they are all integer variables. So we can modify this code or this program. If the user type in a letter, then the program is going to get terminated for now. So we can be able to modify that in version 2. So we initialize all of the variable as an integer variable, and we say that if, using now the condition, if this shall on, which we initialize, to say that shall on should be a value between 1 to 100. Okay? So it should be a value between 1 to 100, which we put here on this random variable. So we are saying that if shall on, which is the number that this person is going to type when we ask them to import their answer between 1 to 100, if that person give us a value less than 0 or equals to 0, or that's why we use this script, or if the person give us a value that is greater than 100, then we should return this string called out of scope, because our scope is from 1 to 100. So it should return this string called out of scope. Else, if the person answer is equals to the random number that we generated from the system, then we should say that, well, congratulations. All right, that means the person have gotten the right answer for this program. So if the shall on, which is the answer the person is going to give, is equals to the random number that the system generated, then we should say congratulations. And it should also tell you the number of time you have attempted to guess the answer. And then to do that, guru will not have to be printed or be shown on the screen as well to tell you how many times, since guru is the one doing the counting. So another condition here that says if the answer you provide is more than or is greater than the computer generated answer, then we should tell you that the number you provided is too hard, and then it give you another chance to try again. Or if the number you provided is less than the computer generated answer, then it should also tell you that the number you provided is very low, and it should allow you to try it again. Or else it should just tell you that you inputted a wrong guess. So basically that's it, and let's try to run it and see what happened. So that's why I didn't try to read this code from scratch again, because of the time. I don't like the videos to be too long. So most of my videos I just try to keep it less than 20 minutes. I don't know if this one is going to be more than 20 minutes, but if it does, then I'm sorry, because I don't want to get you bored. Let me put up my console. So you see here it says this is the computer generated answer at this time. So the random number here is 65 that the system have generated. So let's see, J option should be able to pop up the dollar box for us to import our answer. So there you go. So it gave us a title here called Rosano Guessing Game, and it gave us a hint to say what is a lucky number between 1 to 100. So the lucky number is 65. We know from the back end, but the user don't know. The end user don't know. So we say maybe lucky number is 55. And I say okay. Let's see what happens. So it said, oops, this is too low. Try again. And then it tell me how many times I have tried. So one time, and I press OK. I want to try again. Maybe I'm saying that the lucky number is 90. So it also tell me that it's also wrong. The number is too high, okay? Because it's higher than 65. So it tell me that I also tried 2 times. Now let's go again. Since the number is too high, let me see if I try. First it was too low, now it's too high. Let's see out of scope, right? Let's go more than 100. So 101. 101 should print out of scope. Out of scope. Okay? Now allow me to try again. What other option do we have? We have out of scope, we have greater than, if the number is greater than 65, it is greater, if it's less, it's less. So basically that's it, and let's try to get the answer now. So 65. So congratulations. And now the total number of times we have tried to use this program was 4 different times we have tried to use this program. So that was it, and I hope you learned something from this video. Anything, let me know. Groovy all day, every day.